Hi everybody, what's up? My name is Juan. I'm just one reader and I'm here today to make a video that is hopefully going to be very enjoyable, very fun to make and to watch, and maybe somewhat sassy. Just a little bit of sass wouldn't hurt this channel. This is the Hamilton book tag, which was created by Maureen Keevy, and if you have no idea what Hamilton is, which would be surprising because Hamilton seems to be everywhere, it is the hip-hop American musical. It's wonderful. I am neither American nor very well versed on history and American history, and I'm still very enraptured and in love with this show. It's amazing. I was kind of hesitant when I knew about this show, and so I was kind of reluctantly introduced to it, but you just can't help but falling in love with this show. The lyrics, the music, the characters. Lin-Manuel Miranda, he's done an amazing job, and I am so in love with this show. And let's do the book tag. Question 1, the room where it happens. No one else was in the room where it happens, the room where it happens, the room where it happens. No one else was in the room where it happens, the room where it happens, the room where it happens. A book world you would put yourself in, and this has to be my favorite book of all time, although I haven't read it in about 5 years, and it's time for a reread, and this is The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende, or Michael Ende, depends on how you want to pronounce it. I love the settings that he creates. This is just pure fantasy. This is, to me, fantasy at its highest, and his imagination is never-ending. Question 2 is the Schuyler Sisters. There's nothing like summer in the city, someone in a rush next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smells like your daddy's got money. Why you slumming in the city in your fancy heels? I'm searching for an urchin that will give you ideals. Burr, you disgust me. So you disgust me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me. I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Some men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution? I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, am I compelling to include women in the sequel work? This is an underrated female character, and I went with Crystal from The Casual Vacancy because I think The Casual Vacancy itself is incredibly underrated. People never seem to think about it when they think of J.K. Rowling, and I love this book as a separate piece of fiction, but I love it, and I think Crystal particularly is an amazing character. Question 3 is my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I'ma get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, I may sound astonished. The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard with every word. I drop knowledge, I'm a diamond in the rough, a shining piece of gold, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech, unimpeachable, only 19, but my mind is older. This New York City streets get colder, I showed. And this is a character that goes after what they want and just doesn't stop until they find it. And I chose Javert from Les Miserables because he is just relentless. Question 4 is stay alive. Stay alive. This is a character that you wish were still alive, and of course, spoiler warning for the series His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. Alright? You've been warned. The character that I wish would still be alive was Lee Scoresby and his demon. I forgot her name right now, but this was just heartbreaking. In the end of The Subtle Knife, which is the second book in His Dark Materials, one of my favorite series and my favorite trilogy of all time for sure. These characters die, and it's just stay alive. Question 5, burn. Do you know what Angelica said when we saw your first letter arrive? She said, be careful with that one, love. He will do what it takes to survive. You and your words flooded my senses. Your sentences left me defenseless. You built me palaces out of paragraphs. You built cathedrals. I'm rereading the letters you wrote me. I'm searching and scanning for answers in every line, for some kind of sign. And when you were mine, the world seemed to burn. And this is the most heartbreaking end to a relationship that you have read in a book, which I thought was a little bit YA of a question, so I just changed it up to a very heartbreaking end to a friendship. So this is a childhood friendship, and this is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I will not say anything. If you have read it, you know what I mean, and you are crying, you are sobbing right now with me, so you know what I mean. And if you haven't read this book, then please do something. Question 6 is, you'll be back. You say the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your tea that you hurl in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be back soon, you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You'll remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. We have seen each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. This is a sassy villain, and I went with Ulrich Beil from the novel An Unattractive Vampire by Jim McDaniel. It's not the best book in the world, but it's really ingenious, really clever, refreshing, and hilarious because the protagonist is just... Question 7 is the Reynolds pamphlet. I'm not here for you. I know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. I love my sister more than anything in this life. I will choose her happiness over mine every time. This is a book with a big twist that you didn't see coming, and I went with an entire series really that I think is A, very underrated, and B, extremely good, and people should be reading more of it. And it's full of plot twists, it's very thrilling, and it's the Sally Lockard Mysteries Quartet by Philip Pullman. Philip Pullman is the best. If you have never tried Philip Pullman, please do. Question 8 is non-stop. Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room? Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room? Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room? Assume that attitude may be your doom. This is a series that you marathoned, and although I'm not one to usually marathon through a book series, one that I did marathon, I read it in about a week, and I'm really glad that I did because it was such an adrenaline-filled experience. Was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I liked this series. I thought the first 2 books were really good, and the last one was kind of, you know, a little bit okay. You know, yeah, okay, you know. But yeah, enjoyable series, really liked the thrill of it. Question 9 is satisfied. I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days. I remember those soldier boys tripping over themselves to win our praise. I remember that dream like candlelight, like a dream that you can't quite place. But Alexander, I'll never forget the first time I saw your face. I have never been the same, intelligent eyes in a hunger-pang frame. And when you said hi, I forgot my dang name. Set my heart aflame, every part aflame. This is not a game. To the groom, to the bride, from your sister, who is always by your side, to your union, and the hope that you'll provide. May you always be satisfied. And this is a book or book series that is told through multiple POVs, points of view, and that you really enjoyed. And I had to go with a series that, again, I think a lot of people on BookTube have not read, and they would love it if they did. And this is the Bartimaeus trilogy. This is book 1, The Amulet of Samarkand by Jonathan Stroud. It's told through several points of view. The first one is told, I think, from 2 or 3 points of view. Nathaniel, our protagonist, is a boy magician, and he's just such a great character. And then we have the great Bartimaeus, this kind of demon creature, a genie I think he is, and he is sassy and wonderful and hysterically funny and wise and grumpy, and oh man, you need to read this series, BookTube. Question 10 is, who lives, who dies, who tells your story? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? And this is a book or book series that you think will be remembered through history. And I went with something that I don't think I've ever talked about in my channel, which is, it's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. This is about mental illness and depression and suicide. And the first line of this book is, it's so hard to talk when you want to kill yourself. And unfortunately, Ned Vizzini, the author, passed away. He committed suicide, actually, some years ago. And I think this book is incredibly good. I remember reading it and just being blown away by it, but because of everything that surrounded the author and the writing of this book and what happened with the author having committed suicide and everything, I think this book really will stand as one of those really important mental health books. There's a couple of bonus extra questions to this book tag, and I've decided to do 2. The first one of which is this one: say no to this. I'll say no to this side, no to this. Oh my God, she looks so helpless. Hell yes. No to this side, no to this. No, no to this, no, no to this, no. And this is your favorite guilty pleasure read, and I went with everything that Dan Brown publishes. I just love this guy. I know he's a guilty pleasure, but I'm not even ashamed. I mean, come on, some people do heroin. I'm gonna do some Dan Brown. I have no problem with it. Saying no to this, no, I'm gonna say yes to this. And every time he publishes a book, I'm gonna be right there, front line at the bookstore, deal with it. And the last bonus question is, what comes next? What comes next? You've been freed. Do you know how hard it is to lead? You're on your own. Awesome! Wow! Do you have a clue what happens now? And this is a book series that you wish had more books. And of course, everyone and their mother has said Harry Potter for this question. And I will not be the exception to the rule. Harry Potter, yes, Harry Potter, woo! However, I think I'm not gonna want more books in the actual Harry Potter storyline that we follow in the first 7 books. We are not even thinking about the cursed child that doesn't exist. No, you've been tricked. That is not a thing. It doesn't exist. I think we should have more books in the series, but okay, this is what I want. I want a prequel or a spin-off series or whatever you want, J.K. Rowling, but I want it to be about the teachers. No one else. I don't care if you want to talk about some other characters. I want you to talk about the teachers. Just please give me more information and more shenanigans between these characters that I adore so much. Guys, that was the Hamilton book tag. I had a blast doing it, even though it was incredibly challenging. This music is literally as difficult as it gets. It's so difficult to sing. English is not my native tongue, so so it's even more difficult for me, I guess, in a way. Also, the tessitura, the range of the singing is incredibly high there. It's for a tenor voice, and I don't have a tenor voice. I'm a baritone. I should be singing very low, and Hamilton is just the best, so I could not skip this opportunity. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.